We've been told not to. They told us not to. So he doesn't want us to.
Don't want you to show up.
No, he doesn't want us to take like a primary role like this. Because then if it does become a call out, I'm stuck here and I can't help them no more. I know, bro.
Let me talk to you about this, okay?
I know.
No matter what happens, okay? Whether it's kicked or whatever happened, okay? Now, but listen, I don't think so. But listen, okay? It doesn't make things that bad. It doesn't make things that bad. Okay. I heard what you had to say.
See that?
Yeah, that's big.
So if you're getting harassed by your wife, this one's
She worked for DMV.
no.
And fucking Celine was the first one up here. She was down on her.
I saw her grab.
No,
You think that's right? You think that's respect? They ain't got no words to tear my door down.
she was like ready. Body inside on the truck. She came
That's true.
this spinning.
I
She got really close to it.
So that's how you reach the
I don't think you need one. Okay, what section of the law is that? Yeah. Oh, the sexual.
That was big right there.
That's not true at all. Okay. So I'm asking you to come out and talk with us peacefully. Okay? Okay. Well, I didn't tear your door down. I just got
shining the light in his face along with mine, and then turning my screen down. That's arresting.
Okay, so would
By the police.
you like to come out and talk to us?
No,
Okay. So you're gonna make us go in.
you don't got a warrant.
I don't need one. I've already explained that to you.
And I'm explaining to you, you need a warrant.
Okay. Well, we'll see what the judge has to say about it. Okay? We'll figure it out at that point.
I'm just saying, you throw Alejandro.
Well, like I said, one way or another, what's gonna happen is gonna happen. Okay? I'm trying to explain the law to you so that this doesn't go, so that this doesn't escalate.
You don't gotta explain it all to me because I know the law.
So before this has to get complicated, can you please just come out so we don't have to use force or anything like that?
No,
Why not?
because I already know what's gonna happen.
And so if it's gonna happen regardless,
What's gonna happen?
Easier.
Pausing it, 05145. My apologies to the court. I'm trying to find a specific section. I apologize, Judge. I always played through 155, approximately 155 in some seconds. Now, where are you yourself while all this activity is happening at the window? Are you down at the second bedroom?
I've been going back and forth.
All right. Do you recall did you see Officer Villalobos jump over at Bannister?
No, I did not.
Go back to Officer Salinas' right hand. And for the record of Officer Salinas' footage, we're starting at approximately 015103.
They assaulted me.
It's going around. Hey, hold on. They're getting the maintenance done. Can you unlock it? Reach in. No, I don't. Shut up. Oh, you can't. She's coming.
Hey, watch out. Hey, get out.
Hey!
You're harassing, you're trespassing.
Yeah, she almost hit you, dude.
You're trespassing.
Just get back.
You're trespassing, you ain't gotta work.
Just
You
wait.
ain't gotta work.
Get over here.
Fight me, I don't give a fuck, you ain't gotta work.
No. Come on.
body worn camera. I'm gonna go to approximately 01:51:36. Now, again, would you say again to the jury, where are you standing at in relation to the officers at the window?
The officers that are up here off the left, or excuse me, at the right, are the officers that are up at the porch.
Okay.
I'm down at the corner bedroom.
Okay. And we played starting at about 01:51:36 for approximately a minute forward. You recall those, you announcing those timestamps?
I remember you saying them.
Let's play your body cam. For the record, I paused at 01:52:01. Did you hear a collection of officers yell, "Hey"?
I heard the yelling, but I didn't know what was going on.
Understand. You think back to that time frame when, from Officer Salinas. You recall that yelling, "Hey," when Villalobos was inside the patio?
Yes.
Okay. So you yourself don't know what happened.
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. And on cross-examination, Mr. Cifuentes, he played Officer Salinas representing on Officer Alejandro's body cam. And he made a movement with his fingers and asked you if Officer Alejandro could have relied on Officer Salinas's representation of the distance that and the threat Officer Villalobos was presented with. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You watched all of Officer Salinas's body cam. Did you see Ms. Perez swing at Officer Villalobos at all?
In the video,
Yes, sir.
I know she moved up towards the window, but I
Yes, sir.
wasn't able to.
You go back to States 10, Officer Salinas's body cam, and play 01:51:36.
But like I said,
I understand, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I don't. Shut up. Oh, you can't. She's coming.
Hey, watch out. Hey, get out.
Hey, hey, hey!
You're harassing, you're trespassing.
You have anything on her?
Yeah, she almost hit you, dude.
Pause it, and I want you to go back to the first entry again and play it slow. 01:51:36, and play it slow. 01-5201. And I will ask you, from what you just viewed of Officer Salinas's body cam, did you see Ms. Perez swing at Officer Villalobos?
I did not.
So, but under the question posed by Mr. Cifuentes, an officer can rely on what is reported by their fellow officer. Remember him asking you that?
Yes.
And I agree. You have to be able to rely on the information conveyed by your fellow officers. My question is, should that information be accurate?
Accurate information is always the best,
Yes, sir.
but it.
Thank you, sir. Because if it is inaccurate or misleading, could mistakes happen?
Yeah, mistakes can. But they can also happen with accurate information too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What was it that caused you and your fellow officers to respond to apartment 3102 that night? What was it that caused you to respond?
We were dispatched with the E-tone,
Okay.
the
Was
officer
it
in
told
trouble,
to come to who's for what officer?
Officer Jonathan Salinas.
And what did you understand caused the E-tone initiated by Officer Jonathan Salinas?
He said he'd been assaulted.
Okay. Do you know any of the facts on the assault, the circumstances that caused the assault by Officer Salinas?
No.
On Officer Jonathan Salinas?
No, I did not.
Do you know if it happened outside of the apartment and then Ms. Perez ran into the apartment?
I don't have any knowledge of the actual events until I got there.
Okay. Do you know if the assault occurred in the utility closet where the fire alarm had been damaged and then she retreated to her apartment?
I did not.
Were you relying on the representation of Officer Jonathan Salinas in your response?
Yes.
Last week, also on Mr. Correction, I think it may have been Mr. Goss's cross-exam. Do you recall Mr. Goss questioning you about an old man, a guest in the apartment?
Yes.
Okay? And I believe he asked the question, he asked you if you knew he was there, would that be an would that create exigent circumstances?
If knowing that he was in there,
Yes, sir.
that would have changed how we responded.
Well, and I recall, and you tell me if this is what you recall saying, I wrote down, you said, if there's no threat to anyone else, then she is a barricaded subject. Do you recall saying that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you, and again, you didn't know that there was a guest there. Did you hear anyone say that there was a threat to anybody else besides Officer Salinas?
No, nobody. Like I said, I didn't know if there was anyone else in the apartment.
Okay. But you did say if there's no threat to anyone else, then Melissa Perez is a barricaded subject.
Yes, sir. At least by policy, that's how we're to handle it.
Okay. And if she's a barricaded subject, what else does policy direct your officers in your department to do?
At that point, we have to notify a supervisor, and they'll make the determination what we do next.
Okay. Your Honor, we're going to State's Exhibit number 7. Should be the second, Officer Ramos's second body-worn camera clip. That's the first. My apologies to the court for not having my notes in better order. And we are playing at approximately 01:50:34.
You think everything's more difficult, or you just?
No, I didn't make it difficult. Do you want to work, Sergeant Perez? Do you want to work?
I'm asking you, are you gonna come out for us, or
Do
you
you
just?
want to work?
I'm not here to negotiate.
No, do you want to work?
No, we don't. We don't
Okay,
work.
so you can't come in.
You assaulted one of my officers?
No, I didn't. They assaulted me.
So, I'm gonna ask you one last time. Are you
They
gonna
assaulted
let
me.
people come again?
They assaulted
Okay,
me.
that's right. Okay, so look, what do you want? What do you want? That's what I'm saying, but when you start going in.
Three windows, the windows, so there's all three windows right there.
Yeah.
One person that's in there is a old man that's been in.
Oh, there's somebody else in there now?
Yeah, just old man.
Okay, what about the school?
They're all the screen window.
And we're pausing at 01:51:30. Okay, so this is Officer Ramos's body cam. Did you hear him say to Sergeant Flores, there's an old man, you and Sergeant Flores respond, there's somebody else in there.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay, and so, and again, you were away, you didn't know about this. So, you now know there's someone else in the apartment. And if there was a threat to that someone else, would that be a basis to go in?
Yes.
Okay. But again, as you said, and this is all you know, if there is no threat to anyone, then she is a barricaded subject.
Objection, I'm gonna object to leading, and honestly, that's a ridiculous interpretation of the law. I'll bring back the law up there, we'll go through it with Officer Chernak
All
like we
right,
did on Friday.
I'll sustain the leading objection.
Okay. The statement I just made, is that what you said in response to Mr. Goss's cross-exam last Friday?
Yes.
In your collective experience with all your departments, do patrol officers routinely force entry into a residence?
Object to what other departments may do. That's not relevant.
You can rephrase.
In the 20 years you've served in the San Antonio Police Department, 20 plus years, excuse me, do patrol officers routinely force entry into residences?
And I would object because policies historically have changed from year to year, and it's not law.
I'm asking off of his personal
All right, you could,
experience.
the defense will have an opportunity to cross, I'll overrule.
Okay. I'm sorry.
In the 20 plus years you've served in the San Antonio Police Department, patrol officers routinely force entry into residences?
Not routinely, I mean, it's not like something that we would be doing every day. If the need arises.
On cross-examination by Mr. Nesbitt, you answered, you had the exigency if someone who had run from the police or attacked police, that would be an exigency.
That would be if you assault a police officer, it's a felony. We're
Yes.
allowed to enter
Yes, sir.
if we're in pursuit.
Yes, sir. And then later on was Mr. Newman. You testified it was the intent of the officers was to get into the apartment to take Ms. Perez into custody. Do you recall saying you wanted to prevent needless escalation?
We always want to get it, with the least amount of resistance.
Okay, I understand that. it's never the intent. But is it possible that that entry can cause escalation?
Again, there's variables that there could be a lot of variables in that too, as far as what causes them to respond. She knew we were the police. She knew we were there. It wasn't a surprise. Usually, if we go through a door, it's usually because we've gone in there fast and they don't know who we are. They were asleep or something like that, and we woke them up, and that's usually where we get a lot of the fighting until they find out who we are. That's just an example.
Yes, sir. No further questions, Your Honor. I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Judge. May I proceed?
Yes.
Officer Chernak, hi again. Good to see you this week.
Excuse me, Mr. Boss.
Yeah, you want the microphone?
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So, I want to clear up a few things. I guess I want to start with not routinely, right? It's not routine that this kind of situation is happening. You would agree with that?
No, they are not routine.
Right. It's also not routine, in your experience, that somebody tries to kill you with a hammer.
It's not an everyday occurrence.
Not an everyday occurrence. Or use any other weapon against you, right? But
No.
it does happen.
It does happen, yes.
That's right. But, I mean, thankfully, so far in the society we have here, that's not happening to you every day, right?
No, sir.
Right. So, just because something is not routine does not mean that it's wrong or bad or anything like that. Do you see what I mean? Right. Well, let me ask you this. If somebody is only trying to attack you with a hammer 3 times a year, and you go into the place that they're attacking you to try to arrest them 3 times a year, it's not routine, but that's still justified, those 3 times. Does that make sense?
As long as it's within, we have a legal right to be there.
That's right. And in this case, you had a legal right to be there, is what you said.
Yes.
Okay. So, because I kind of want to get to, I was thinking about our conversation last week, and so I want to do it a little bit different. I don't want you to speculate on stuff. I want you to talk about your training and your experience.
Okay.
Right? Because your training and your experience will tell you if this thing happened, then I have to respond or I can respond like this, right?
Yes.
And that's a form of speculation, but it's also in your training and experience. So I'm going to be asking you, based on your training and experience, different scenarios and what your training tells you that you can do or what you should do. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And but first, since we're talking about your training experience, I want to clear up this barricaded subject, because the prosecutor, what he did was he said, well, if they're not a threat to anyone there, then they're a barricaded subject. Now, Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Because we got to go through it again. And this isn't anything on you, I'm responding to them. Defense 42. So Defense 42 we kind of talked about. This lays out, different, leave or respond. And by respond means, continue to go in, continue to try to make the arrest. So we talked about a barricaded subject is your leave part, and that's what the prosecutor is trying to suggest. But it's if somebody is alone, right? That's what we're talking about. They're alone.
Okay.
Right? You agree with that?
Yes.
That's what your training says. Your training says non-criminal, meaning they have not committed any crimes. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Your training says they're suicidal, meaning that they only want to harm themselves. Right?
Yes.
And your training says they're possibly armed, which we talked about. You don't know if they're armed or not, but they're possibly armed, but you don't know. That just means you haven't confirmed that they are armed. Right?
Correct.
Right? Because
Correct.
possibly means it's not confirmed. That's a barricaded subject. And that's where your policy and that's where your training tells you, okay, rather than us go in and risk our lives on somebody who is only a threat to themselves, we will leave. However, if they're not suicidal, and we talked about it, she was not suicidal, she was...
You want me to say homicidal?
Well, do you agree with it?
She was angry, yes.
Yes, and made a homicidal attack on officers that you saw on camera, right?
Yes.
And that's the other thing, too. I know there were things that you didn't see that night, but now you have seen. And so when I ask you, I'm not necessarily asking you from your perspective of Officer Chernak on that night. It's Officer Chernak on the witness stand. So let's talk about, do you see what I mean? Like the things you've seen, you can incorporate now into your answers. So, she was homicidal. Did she commit crimes that you saw?
Yes, she had assaulted an officer.
One with a hammer and a candle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. She was not alone.
After a long debate, that I just found out.
Sure, and that goes to my point, which is because this whole thing here is not about what your actions on that night. It's about theirs. So it's about what they understood and what they know. And you know now that Sergeant Flores knew that she was not alone, right?
Yes.
Because you heard people telling him on the body cam that she was not alone.
Yes.
And you know for a fact she was armed.
Yes.
Okay. So you would agree, no matter what they say over here, you would agree that is a situation you cannot leave.
No.
No, you don't agree, or
no? No, we could not walk away.
You could not walk away, and the reason you cannot walk away is because what the prosecution said is that they made this term not a threat to anyone. But we've established the fact that if there is anyone in there at all with her acting like that, she's a potential threat to that person. Right?
Yes, sir.
Right. That's the whole alone, not alone. Not alone, it doesn't matter if you've seen her doing this to him or threatening him, you have to assume that threat exists, right?
To some degree.
Right, because you can't walk away and just guess, like, I hope she doesn't do anything bad to the guy. You have to make sure that this person is safe, if she's in there with any person. Man, woman, child. Right?
Yes.
Elderly, bedridden, youngest child, middle-aged man, sitting in a recliner. You can't leave her there with the hammer acting the way she's acting if she's exhibiting all those things, including the criminal behavior, right?
Yes, sir.
So, your training and experience tells you have to go in, right?
It tells me that we need to.
It tells you need to. It would tell them that they need to, because they've had the same training and experience that you have, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
right?
I don't know about the experience, but the training, yes.
That's right. He has had more experience, I agree. You've had more experience, and that's that's why I think it's important that the jury understands from your experience that what you are saying is what they did, deciding that they have to go in and get her, is something that you would do with your training and experience, right?
Okay.
I'm not saying the exact way they did it, but you would, whatever way y'all decided, somebody had to go in and get her and make an arrest on this subject, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I want to kind of go to a question that gets asked a lot, and since you've had so much training experience, you've been on the job for a long time, and I bet you've gotten this question too. People say, why don't you just shoot him in the arm? Why don't you just shoot him in the leg? Why don't you just shoot him in the hand that had the hammer? Have you heard questions like that before?
Yeah.
Is that a reasonable thing for an officer to do?
No.
No, it's not. Why?
When you're under stress, you can take someone out on the firing range and they can shoot 100%. Stand there, put all their rounds in an area like this. The percentage of whether, what happens when you're under stress, I've heard 30, I've heard 40%. But your accuracy diminishes under stress. You start losing the use of your fine motor skills, and it just becomes basically either muscle memory or a gross motor skill. And when you're under stress and you're trying to aim for an area like an arm, the odds of missing it are much higher as opposed to shooting center mass.
Right, and so just to demonstrate, may I stand up in the wheelchair?
Yes.
So just to demonstrate, like my arm, your area that you can hit is like that big on my arm, right? I mean, I got a circle that's maybe 2 inches around. Your area that you can hit here, you know, and especially, you know, somebody a bigger guy, like your area here, this is where it's at, right? Like this
Yes,
is
sir.
where, if you're under stress and you're firing, you want to stop the threat. That's the whole point.
Correct.
Okay. And trying to shoot a hammer out of somebody's hand in a dot like this, that could be an extremely difficult shot. Right?
That would be an extra difficult shot for even some of the SWAT guys under stress.
Right. Even a marksman would have a hard time doing that. Because I think on the movies, you just see them go ping, 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 and they shoot everywhere that they're aiming. Right?
Yes.
But in real life,
It doesn't happen that way.
Doesn't happen like that. And in fact, Alejandro, he's basically standing a couple of feet from her, and he shoots 5 rounds at her, and none of them hit her at all the first time when she first comes through to do that, right?
I don't know where
You didn't see that?
No, I did not.
Well, so I'll tell you that in the videos, she comes through once, and there's that first round because you didn't see, but you heard that there was a first round of volleys.
Yes, sir.
And then a second round, right?
Yes, sir.
That first round, Alejandro is shooting because she comes at Flores with the hammer. She hits the window, glass is flying everywhere at both of them, and he's trying to shoot her, and he misses all those shots.
Mm-hmm.
But in your experience, that's, you know, glass flying in your face while you're trying to make a shot and all of those other things, and especially high stress. In your experience, that would be something that you would expect because it's not as, because officers trying to fire in that situation is more difficult, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's why we don't train officers to just shoot her in the leg so we can disable her so we can go in. Y'all would never be trained to do that.
No.
Right. You would only be trained that if you have to use deadly force, in your training and experience, you have to use deadly force when you're presented with deadly force, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you have to use deadly force, you have to shoot center mass on the person to stop them.
That's what we're trained. Yes, sir.
Right. And that's what they would have been trained, right?
Yes, sir.
Because that's the same training that all police officers you know of would have.
I've been through several different classes, and that's
Right, because the
you know,
purpose
that's
is
that's the whole, you know, that's the the whole point of, because this is a much larger area and able to allow for that I don't want to call it, but you know, to take into account for that stress level.
right, and also officers. I guess, do y'all commonly train on moving targets, or do you train on like stationary targets?
Everything we've done that I can remember for the last several years has been pretty much a stationary target.
Right, somebody that's standing right like this. Well, a silhouette.
Paper target.
Paper target, standing like this, or maybe like a bad guy with a mask on or something. But whatever it is, it's just a stationary target.
Yes.
In this situation, you would agree that she made herself a moving target all over the place, right?
Yeah, she
From
was
what you
moving
said.
around in the apartment, yes.
That's right. And so, and everything that you've seen is that every time she has come forward with a hammer towards the officer, she's been like moving at least in that direction, right?
Yes.
So you know, and I kind of want to, you know, there was some conversation on the video about the maintenance guy, and it was, you know, about the key. One of the interesting things you would agree, maybe you wouldn't agree it's interesting, but one of the things I saw on your body cam was after all of this happened, you had to go help them, like I used some kind of tool to help them pry
The Leatherman.
a Leatherman. So you had a Leatherman on you, and you were helping them pry that door open, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you would agree that even if somebody had a key in that front door on the other side and tried to open the door, it wasn't going to open?
I don't think that door was going to open because you saw us flipping the knobs and it wasn't opening.
Right, because it was an unlocked door at the time that you were prying on it, and it was still stuck shut.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, that just goes back to your experience. You said, well, somebody must have kicked it. You didn't know, but you just knew based on your experience of how the door was doing that somebody must have kicked it.
I had an idea.
Yep, and you're right. Yeah, Ramos came and kicked it, a couple of times and they couldn't get it over. The,
Not to interrupt, not to interrupt. We're
oh, were we at that time?
Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
Members of the jury, I got a matter I gotta take out. I'm gonna give y'all 30 minutes. All right, there'll be an extended break.
All rise for the jury.
Is it gonna be in here? Is it gonna be in here?
Yeah. No, you're fine.
I gotta get out of that chair for a minute. That is not a very comfortable chair.
I bet not. Maybe they do that on purpose.
Keep you sitting up straight.
Uh-huh.